Welcome to the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, a place for the strong, sensitive, spiritual seeker to recognize the perfection of your human journey as a pathway to remembering your divinity, to bridge both the emotional and spiritual worlds through proven and grounded frameworks that support you to live in the wholeness you already are. For over the past 2 decades, I have supported people from all around the world, as well as Fortune 500 companies, to dissolve the divisions within them and live with greater empowerment and love. This podcast is an exploration of the paradoxes that befuddle us as we live our lives being both human and divine. Together, you and I, along with other experts, will navigate integrating psychology and spirituality, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the darkness and the light, to create greater sacred union from within. I believe through your remembering that you are innately divine, that you will allow yourself to more openly shine. So let's get to it, because your unique light is needed more than ever. Welcome to I'm Perfectly Divine podcast. I'm so glad you're with me. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different part of the summer, and I'm calling them Alchemical Illumination Portals. And what these are designed to be are snapshots of deeper work that is available to you through a special free series that I've created for you called Sacred Alchemy. So this way you get to decide if you want to delve in, and I hope you do, because these are going to be incredibly powerful. So where I'd like to begin is discussing how what we perceive as blocks are actually gateways. So your blocks actually mark the threshold point from an old version of you to a new one, which is why it's so interesting to me that we've been taught to pretend that the blocks aren't there, or feel shamed about them, or even over-identify with them. And that's not healthy either, when we just kind of feel like this is who I am. And so each of these are insanity making for us, because it makes us more blocked. It actually reinforces the block to remain. And so they're having this belief that we are somehow supposed to know better, especially without experience, and then pretend we have experience by trying to fake it until you make it, is going to, it's just not going to get to the core of the issue of what is creating the block to begin with. And I know this because I used to try to apply the fake it till you make it strategy every time I would get up on stage and have to speak in front of an audience. And I would try to fake confidence, fake that I'm not nervous. And let me just say, I don't think I was fooling anyone because I know I was not fooling myself. It didn't take any of that away. And it wasn't until much later that I learned to hold both that I am nervous and I'm courageous. And I get to hold both. I feel nerves because I care, and I'm already courageous because I'm up here. But the growth opportunity is to examine, what am I caring about? How I look? Instead, my truth is, I feel more free as I allow myself to learn to surrender, knowing the highest good will be whatever arises, even if that highest good isn't what I want it to look like. Because if the outcome is not what I desired, that becomes the next threshold point for me to delve into, for me to transition from the old to the new. But just like not recognizing blocks as gateways, we also forget to recognize that failure is our quickest path to success. And we hear this, like some good leaders have taught us this, but somehow there's a deeper teaching to avoid failure at all costs. And so rather than avoid failure, let's learn the huge difference between failing consciously and failing unconsciously. Failing consciously takes an amazing amount of courage and self-esteem because it will require you to look at what went wrong without taking everything personally. And this is where shame will kick in, making a failure a personal affront about some deficiency about you, about how you were made, with these so-called flaws that are keeping you from the success that you desire. Rather than recognize missteps are part of the path to success. They're how we actually embody knowing better and feeling comfortable with ourselves and confidence. But instead, if we got to fake it till we make it, we're going to feel ashamed. And then we run from our pain by pretending it isn't there. And we want to hold on to this mask of having it together or knowing better when inside we're struggling. And then we go into hiding, not only through our masks, but the way we numb ourselves, which, let's face it, are endless. There's so many ways to numb ourselves from reality. And all we are doing is distancing ourselves from our own selfhood. Whether we do this with food or alcohol, drugs, scrolling, gaming, or really any obsession because we are afraid of feeling ashamed. And we don't want to turn towards that threshold point of what is actually hurting us. And so we remain lost because we're lying to ourselves that this short-term band-aid of numbing that helps us feel better temporarily will ever make our lives better, will ever help us to truly know ourselves so we can be free. So the third way that we can fall into this trap is that we swing to this other side of the spectrum where there's a wisdom to saying, I'm no longer going to suffer in silence. And it's important for me to share my struggles, share my internal struggles, let them be seen. And there is wisdom in this because obviously this is better than feeling ashamed about our internal struggles and hiding and suffering there. But the problem becomes when the ego turns this into our identity. When we believe this is just who I am and I just need to learn to deal with it, rather than the experience being a gateway to know one's true self more. That's what these blocks are about. Not to under-identify with them or over-identify with them. And so it's remembering that we are never our pain. But the more we reinforce our pain and identify with it, the more we experience that internal suffering or that block. And what's happening is that we don't realize how powerful we are when we use I am statements to declare your identity is a painful state. So we're proclaiming, I am not going to hide. And the truth is, I'm depressed or I'm suffering with anxiety. And what we don't realize that is equally true is that our egos can take anything and twist it to become over-identified with, from our spiritual highs and our power to heal and do, and connect to the spiritual realm, to our human lows and the pain and suffering that we're in. Our ego can latch on to all of it. And the best thing that I can compare this to is a parent who is over-identified with their child. And they believe it's coming from love for their kid. And the thing is, their love is true. Yet what they aren't willing to recognize is that their over-identification portion is their unaddressed pain that they are now placing on this child to carry that burden that belongs to them. And of course, this is the opposite of loving, right? It truly isn't loving at all. And now it's left on the child to challenge their own pain along with the unaddressed pain of the parent that has unknowingly placed this on them. And I've seen it all the time. And so under the guise of love, the child now has doubled the work to do because the parent didn't take responsibility to consciously go into their own pain, to understand how their pain is guiding them back to a deeper love than they otherwise have known, so that that type of love can be passed on to their child. So whether it's an over-identifying with pain or masking the pain by numbing it, or pretending you are over pain and any, blocks, what is actually happening is that we are inhibiting ourselves from the love that we are meant to experience. And clearly, this is no one's fault because it isn't taught. So not only have we not been taught how to fail in order to know more of ourselves and actually receive success through our failures, we aren't taught that life will take us through different journeys that require different skill sets to navigate in order for us to truly know ourselves, to free ourselves, and to make it through these threshold points to know the love that we are. So this is happening when we feel lost. And rather than have our ego turn our sense of lostness into the pretending, the numbing, the shaming, the over-identifying, we can instead learn which journey that we are on and how to specifically address your fears based on that realm of consciousness that you are working through. So the fears you are facing have deeper meaning than our egos would ever want us to recognize, because that is where more of your truth and power are. So to help you more, to align more with your truth, love, and power, I invite you into the Sacred Alchemy series to learn more about why you may be feeling stuck in trying to address your fears and it's not working. It may be because you are on a different realm of manifestation and consciousness that requires a different focus from you in order to pass through these threshold gates. So this series is completely free. Again, it's called the Sacred Alchemy series, which gives you a map to help you understand which of the 3 alchemical journeys you are on and what is being asked of you within each journey. So you can sign up at michelleburcell.com/sacred-alchemy, or just go to my show notes. I'll have the link there. So again, it is completely free, and we are going to take this topic much deeper. So I hope to see you there. Until next time, know that there is nothing to fix, just to remember.
I am so honored you have joined me today. If you enjoyed the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, subscribe so you don't miss any of our power-filled episodes. Also, if you know another who is strong, sensitive, and spiritual and wants to dive deeper into emotions and ancient wisdom so they too can create profound peace and fulfillment from within, please share this podcast. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to reconnecting with you soon.